1877 to 1899, the Gilded Age was characterized by the phenomenal wealth and far-reaching power of a handful of men. These men were known as robber barons because they ruled the business world by taking risks and using aggressive strategies. Today we're going to focus on two successful men who were the richest of their time, John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie. Although their companies were involved in illegal and unethical activities, they both competed in philanthropic work to serve society. Their contributions continue to make an impact on America today. John Davison Rockefeller was born on July 8, 1839, in Richford, New York. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, worked as a pitchman and claimed to be a doctor who could cure cancers. His mother, Eliza Davidson Rockefeller, was very religious and raised John to believe in the importance of giving. In school, John excelled in mental arithmetic and was able to solve difficult math problems. At age 16, John landed his first job as an assistant bookkeeper with Hewlett and Tuttle, and he would work for the rest of his life. Several months before his 20th birthday, John formed a partnership with a neighbor, Morris Clark. The two men formed Clark and Rockefeller. They were commission merchants who focused on selling in grain, hay, and meat. John was very exact, honest, and extremely hard-working, which made him a good businessman. Although his startup company did well, he felt like the market was going to be limiting. He took interest in the railroad industry because he believed it would become the primary means of transportation and saw oil as his opportunity to start. In 1864, John married Laura Celestia Spellman. The next year, he started Rockefeller and Andrews, Cleveland's largest oil refinery. He believed one secret to success was attention to detail. Consequently, Rockefeller hired chemists to come up with the most efficient way to drill oil. These chemists discovered a way to extract oil without any waste by making kerosene. Rockefeller was excited about this idea, so in 1870, Rockefeller and 5 other men created the Standard Oil Company of Ohio, which became the largest corporation in the country. Not only did he improve the quality and availability of kerosene, but over time he reduced the price by 80%. Every part of the oil-making process he controlled, including his own wagons, ships, and trains. Today, this widely known business tactic is called vertical integration. Rockefeller was involved in a number of scandals, including the South Improvement Scheme. The plan was to unite the oil-carrying railroads in a pool and to unite the refiners in an association. John did not want to be a part of this because he wanted his company to be the one great oil company. So instead of cooperating, by March 1872, Rockefeller had bought up or merged with almost all of the refineries in Cleveland. He made deals and negotiated agreements with the railroads in order to gain control of important facilities in the New York harbor. By 1879, the Standard Oil Company did almost 90% of the refining in the U.S., with almost 70% being exported overseas. Rockefeller was only 40 years old. Forward to 1904, 80% of American towns were served by Standard Oil carts that delivered the various products directly to businesses and homes. The company was aggressive in making small companies like grocery stores to only sell standard products. In 1883, John, his wife, and children moved to New York and built a mansion at 4 West 54th Street. In 1891, his health was in decline. Rockefeller developed alopecia, a rare condition that results in the loss of all body hair. At this same time, Rockefeller's wealth was so grand that he did not know what to do with it. From the mid-1890s until his death, Rockefeller's activities were philanthropic. Rockefeller helped fund a countless number of establishments. Rockefeller alone gave $75 million to the University of Chicago. He set up the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research and also the Rockefeller Foundation, the Rockefeller Sanitary Commission, Rockefeller Center, and countless others. On May 23, 1937, at the age of 98, his remaining fortune was estimated at $1.4 billion, an unheard of amount at the time. His creation of the Standard Oil Company brought millions light and cheap gasoline, which was needed for the later age of automobile in America. Andrew Carnegie has a different life story, a rags-to-riches story of a Scottish immigrant building himself up to be one of the biggest givers to America. Andrew Carnegie was born in Dunfermline, Scotland in 1835 to Margaret and Will Carnegie. When Andrew was 8, they settled in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he worked as a bobbin boy in a textile mill, earning $1.20 per week. The next year, he worked as a messenger boy in a telegraph office. In 1853, he became the personal messenger and assistant to Thomas Scott, the superintendent of the Pennsylvania Railroad's Western Division. Here, he learned the tricks of the trade to the railroad industry. One opportunity which made him a lot of money was the business deal of the Woodruff Sleeping Car Company that he eventually bought. This company successfully introduced the first sleeping car on U.S. railroads. Then, in 1865, he and several associates founded the Keystone Bridge Company. This group imagined building bridges with iron, which is more durable than wood. His most major success, though, was the creation of the Carnegie Steel Corporation, which was the largest steel manufacturing company in the world. One could say that the Scotsman was in the right place at the right time. This was during the Industrial Revolution, and steel was the #1 material used in America. By the age of 33, Carnegie was worth $400,000, approximately $5 million in the 21st century. Yet, Carnegie was troubled by his wealth. Even though he gave so much away, he still had millions. In 1889, he published an essay called The Gospel of Wealth. In it, he claimed that the wealthy have a responsibility to give back to society. He said, "In bestowing charity, the main consideration should be to help those who will help themselves, to provide part of the means by which those who desire to improve may so do, to give those who desire to rise the aids by which they may rise, to assist, but rarely or never to do all." This idea was not popular in the upper class, where it was believed that those who were wealthy were so because they were most fit to society. Carnegie's life was one of a paradox because he encouraged the working man to succeed even though he crushed labor unions and cut his employees' wages. In 1901, Carnegie sold his company to U.S. Steel, owned by robber baron J.P. Morgan, for $480 million and became the wealthiest man in the world. He devoted the rest of his life to giving nearly all of his money away. The most substantial contribution he made to America was his donation of more than $56 million to build 2,509 libraries throughout the world. At this time, libraries were uncommon. Carnegie promised that any town that had a site and would swear to maintain the building, he'd help. Many of the libraries he helped fund still run today, such as the New York Public Library System. Other projects that Carnegie started were the Carnegie Corporation of New York, Carnegie Hall, Carnegie Institute, Carnegie Mellon University, Carnegie Trust for the Universities of Scotland, Carnegie Institute of Washington, the Carnegie Dunfermline Trust, the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission, the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, Carnegie United Kingdom Trust, Carnegie Council for Ethics in International Affairs. Plus, another fun fact is that Carnegie loved church organs, and by his death in 1919, he had given away 4,092 church organs throughout the United States. As you can see, both Carnegie and Rockefeller have left their footprints on American society. They came from different backgrounds and worked hard to gain success. The two men even competed in the game of philanthropy. Newspapers would keep score of who gave the most. For example, in 1904, the Times of London reported Carnegie's total at 24 million and Rockefeller's at 10 million. In 1909, the final box score ran Carnegie 332 million, Rockefeller 175 million. Carnegie gave away 90% of his fortune, while Rockefeller kept much of his. The contest was over, and both men are still remembered today for their charitable work towards the improvement of America.